How did we get here? In my career wise, I gotta say, just when I was about maybe 16, I remember going to, I saw the Alfred Hitchcock series Presents, and I just fell in love with the short form and how he told stories. And I think ever since then I got, like, as they say, the acting bug, or the entertainment bug. And I was like, I want to do whatever he's doing. So I ended up making. I did my my brother was in TV films production, and he brought this camera home, and I took it, and then like I just was recording all the scenes. I was in front of the camera. I was all the characters. I was cutting the video, and you know, it was definitely when like the love kind of, I fell in love with it when I was 16. So yeah. My first short, I've made a few of them. I'd say for me, it was one of my first short was maybe roughly right at 16, but I did little stories like psychological stories, like things that make you think. I don't know, I was a really deep kid. My mom always thought I was strange. Like, this, you're a very different kid, but I love it, and she allowed me to be, express myself. And I think I made a story called, what was it called? I think it was like based off of a movie. It was like about a woman that had, she had to write sticky notes on like, reminders of around their house of like things because she was suffering from memory loss. And yeah, I was very fascinated with that concept of like what would that look like, and how scary that is, like mentally speaking. And yeah, and I did it. I shot it myself. I got the camera, and I had a tripod, and I was the actor. I edited it as well, put it out, put it on YouTube, and surprisingly, it was really well received. And I think from then on, I was like, I think people really are, people were giving me feedback and they enjoyed it. What other type of movies that I like to film and produce, right? I love now, as time goes on, I really like those what ifs, those scenarios of like that could also be diced in reality, like but definitely dealing with like the mind. I say I started out doing scary movies. I really love horror. It's one of my favorite genres, but there's something about, as I get older, like I really like conversation. I like learning people. I think people are very fascinating. Like why we do the things we do, like behavior wise, like where they come from. Is it come from our father's sides, our mother's sides, or both? Like, where do we get? And I think a lot of that sometimes it can, we can also, those can go far. Those kind of topics. You could talk about trauma. You can go like way back. And I just really, though, I like, people, like the study of people. That's what fascinates me now. What do I prefer? Filmmaking, acting, producer, writer. I prefer, I will say cinematography will always be number one. It would be my heart. I shoot, and I started doing a lot more like shooting versus directing, and I got in directing later. But I feel like when you're in this business, you kind of have to know all of it, because at some point, the phone is ringing, and you just have to make opportunities for yourself. I think the more right, the more job qualifications and opportunities you'll have when you kind of like figure out like, oh, what does this do? Or okay, editing, I ended up doing editing, and I edit too. And I feel like knowing all these, areas are very vital, but I definitely prefer cinematography if I gotta choose one. How many movies have I written? That is such a great question, because I feel like writing was scary for me at one point. I have ideas. I've always have these concepts in my head, and I just kind of do them. Like I don't really like it. I just kind of how I started. But as I got older, I got into writing later, like writing like long form stories. I was kind of nervous getting to writing, because I never thought I was like actually a writer. You know how people say, well, I'm a writer, I went to school, I've written books, and it's like, I'm not qualified. Like I've never. So then I just started, as I got older, I started like, accepting it more and starting writing longer forms stories. And then I joined got a call to be a part of a writers group. Gosh, I think it was like in 2019 or 2020, I believe, right before COVID, like during COVID. I was scared, but you do things that scare you, right? You do things that make you a little nervous. I feel like those are what expand you in this business. So I was like, yeah, all right, I guess I'll join. I'm like, but I was like, are you sure you want me to join? And he was like, yeah, I'm forming a group of writers and your name came up. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, so, would you want to do that? And I mean, I was around, there's 12 of us, right? Skilled writers. I mean, these guys were writing feature films, television shows, books. And I was like, what? Why am I think someone's got this wrong. But I learned so much. I got into it, and I learned how to like, just construct, the format, just learning from people that know more. I just was soaking it in, and I think my fear slowly went down after joining that group. So, and we wrote a feature film, all of us. So it was, it was pretty cool. So we haven't made the feature yet, but it's written, and it was like 100-something pages, and we did it together. And the name of the first piece that I wrote, oh man, I gotta say, there was a story called Green Heights Point. I remember writing this years ago when I was like 17, 18 maybe? 19. Something like that. And I just didn't shoot. I just like, it just one of those things that I've written and I was like, oh wow, okay. And I put it away. And during COVID, it was like, I don't know, I was just like, I need to do something, because it felt like, being in, like the end of the world. And I was like, well, I got to make something. I got to be creative. And I was one day just cleaning out my bag or something, and I came across that script, and I was like reading it and laughing at how bad it was. Like me then and to me now, I'm like, whoa, but I saw the concept. Like I can see the concept, and I was like, yeah, I want to make this. So I ended up making Green Heights Point during COVID. And I got, a few actors, and we followed protocol, and we made this short film, and it actually did really well. But it's a bunch of, during the making of that, there were some things that happened that was unfortunate. Like the equipment got stolen, the footage was stolen, so half the movie is not there in the film, but I still put it together, and I made something out of it and put it online, and it did really well in festivals. My company, M.V.B Films, I started that in 2003 because, I was making so much content, and, my parents were like, well, you got to be careful with all, you could put your content out and somebody could steal it, you hear that all the time, right? Just like, you're not getting credit from something, and I didn't realize like that you need that, and my parents, thank God, they helped me open that up, and it's really just my name, Meosha Bean Films Productions, my whole name. And it's just, we do short forms, podcasts, everything, I create. And it was just something like I want to be able to create under my company and like original stories. So that's when it started. Podcasting, I started I just love podcasts, number one. I love listening to a lot of just conversations about just how people do it, whether it's career-wise or just life. I just think it's just a really cool form of information. And I was like, I want to get into that world. And I started podcasting, oh God. I had maybe like 2016 I started podcasting, but different shows, different things. Like I did a show called Women's Talk with Meosha, where I went around and in person talked to women in the industry about like their career and why they got into it. And it was like a little short format. I think I did like maybe 2 seasons, but it was just like keeping up with the commitment of you know, meeting in person, and then you're also have a career, like life doesn't stop. So that was like short lived, but it was like a 2 season kind of project. And then I went on to that and I did a project called Tea Talks with Meosha and Irina, where is my friend she's from Russia, and we just have these two different backgrounds, and we would talk about topics, and it's still out to this day. And that was gosh, 5 seasons. It was 5 years we shot that, and that's online and podcasts as well. And then Creators to Creators is the newest one that I have now, which is under M.V.B Films Productions. And I love it. I love talking to people, and I get to have, you know, these conversations about the journey. Bloody Peach Festival. Sandra, she's great. How I got involved in Bloody Peach Festival. Gosh, she reached out to me. They both were like, "Hey, we saw your work and we love to honor you at, you know, the festival." And I was like, "Oh, that'll be great." And, you know, I love that, you know, what she was doing. I saw the first show that she put together, a festival, and I thought, wow, this is good. She's really getting her stuff out there. I mean, it's really hard to put a festival together, to get people there and seats, you know, and then find sponsorships and all that stuff. And she did great. And I was like, after that, we just connected and stayed, you know, connected ever since. And, you know, I work with them on projects, and yeah, and I just think what she's doing is amazing. And to see women doing it is I'm like, all right. What am I doing now? What's next for me? What's next for me is, you know, just different things. Right now I'm working on Church Hurt for sure. That's one that I'm super excited about. It's something that's really near and dear to my heart, and I haven't been excited about something in a long time. And I feel like this is going to be life-changing for a lot of people. And not only like, and it's not to bash church at all. You know, I'm a preacher's kid. Like I grew up in church, you know, and Christ is number one for sure in my life. And I feel like, but also I want to be able to have a place where people can talk about their trauma from church, because also not every church was, you know, great experiences. But, you know, I just felt like this was inspired because a friend of mine committed suicide due to church. And I had no idea that he was even going through any of it. And because every time I talk to him, he's like, "Oh, everything's great. Life is good. God is good." You know, I'm like, "Oh, he's going great." You know, and he's very, very successful, but not knowing what really was going on with, you know, where he was and with church. And I found out later, and it inspired me to share these stories, because I think we all have, in a way, have some church trauma somewhere, whether it's a misunderstanding or whatever. Some extreme cases, of course. But I wanted to talk about this more so. It's a podcast form, and it's people telling their church trauma. And I have 6 episodes and for the first season, and I couldn't be any more proud. Like, it's some really sad stories, but what I do want is that to people walk away with is church isn't the problem, it's people, you know. And I think if we just know how to, like, I don't know, be more communicate and be clear, people, it'll be a better place, you know. Who are some of my mentors? I will say I always have, you know, he's one of my favorite people in this business. His name is Ronnie Warner, and I call him Uncle Ronnie at this point, and I've known him for so long, and his family's beautiful family. And, you know, it's really hard to come by really good people in this business, because, you never know, people, they want something from you or what their intentions are. And I remember when I met him, like, he just gave me a shot on this series. We did a web series, and it was my first web series as the cinematographer. Head cinematographer of it, and we shot this whole series, and we had Marlon Wayne's, I believe, son was in it as well, and some other people, but we had a great time, you know. And he took a chance on me. He's also acting in it, but he's an amazing guy, and he's written for Warner Brothers. He's written all types of projects. He's a writer, director, comedian. Like, his story is amazing, and he's just really one of those people that I think when I could talk to him about anything. If I'm not sure, if I'm sad, if I'm, like, you know, just going through a lot of things in life, I can call him and his family and just kind of talk to them, he always answers, Bean, are you okay? And and I'm like, I love that. And it's just never, it's always the same. He always gives me like great advice of like, it's okay, like you just keep going. It can be difficult at times, but as long as you continue to love it. So yeah, Ronnie Warner. If I can give any advice for anyone that wants to enter in the entertainment industry, what would it be? That is a great question. I think I would say run. I'm joking. Could you imagine? No. I would say just follow your heart and find out what's your why. What makes you do what you do, and just have a good time. Really put yourself out there. Get as much knowledge as you can. I mean, social media is out there for a reason. It's information that we can there's so much out there, like, to our resources to figure out how to do something. I mean, we're living in the age of AI, so everything is accessible. And I think as long as you are willing to learn and grow and want to know more, I think that's how you get in the business. I just think create as much as you can. Anything that I would like to discuss, like, tell the world. That's a great question. I don't know. Just my motto is live, love, laugh, and I live by that. Like, if you're not doing that, then what are we doing? Every day is a blessing. Every day is a gift, and we only get one, so just enjoy it to the fullest. That's what I would say. The awards I received at the Bloody Peach Festival was amazing. I received the Women in Horror award, which is it's an honor. I mean, it was really cool to be there to meet other filmmakers and talk about our journey. It's always great to hear that your work is someone sees it and being like loves it and recognizes it and the hard work, because it's a difficult industry at times. And as I say, I always say this, and jokingly with my friends, I say that I'm want to be the Oprah of film, and it's baby steps. I don't think you get to be that person overnight, but I think it's a process. And Oprah, what she's done with her career, and she inspires me. Someone that I want to get into that world of hosting. So podcast is kind of like that way of doing that in a way. So yeah, I'm just honored that they said that I got this award, and I'm a Women in Horror, whatever that means. I think that's great. So hey, more awards. Hey, God is good. Other awards that I have received have been awards like I've won for best picture for for Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, which was filmed in Europe and also in San Diego and some parts of Los Angeles. So we merged the two, but it was like an action drama project that I directed, and we received many awards from all over the world. It's in China. It's you can buy it over there. It's when I feel like when you made it as a director, when you see your film dubbed in another language, you're like, okay, all right, not bad. But I've received a few. I think one of my favorite was being mentioned at the TIFF award, huge award show, which is one of the like a Sundance. It's at that level. And the producer Ashley Blackwell, who did horror noir, the history of Black horror, which is on AMC and Shudder network and everywhere else you can find it. But she mentioned my name on stage, and I was like, man, that's an honor just to hear those, to hear that your work is being echoed in certain places that you're not necessarily there presently yet. It's kind of cool. So, kind of cool to be cool and recognized. So you can find me on social media, on Instagram. You can find me, Meosha Bean Official. I'm very much active on Instagram. Facebook as well. I mean, I'm sometimes active on there. But yeah, anywhere where YouTube, M.V.B Films Productions channel, which is, where I'm putting content out. I have 400 and something videos now on that channel. So I'm putting content out galore, and I'm so excited for the content out, because I've partnered with you guys, TLAT Media, which I believe is the best media sponsorship ever. Everybody who needs to, people that need to get involved. If you're not, you're sleeping. You should get involved. It's amazing. I appreciate the partnership with you guys. You guys are absolutely incredible. Yeah, and I love it. Download the TLAT Media app to watch the full interview.